All right, let's just jump right in. When you think about getting good with money, what comes to mind, right? It's probably spreadsheets, complicated formulas, trying to figure out the market. But what if the most important piece of the puzzle has almost nothing to do with math and everything to do with how your brain is wired? So, let me ask you a question. Just think about it for a second. Of all the financial skills out there, investing, saving, budgeting, the whole nine yards, what's the single most important one? What's the one thing that truly moves the needle? Well, the answer is actually kind of surprising. And it's really the whole point of what we're talking about today. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about what degree you have. Nope. It's all about how you behave. It's your habits, your mindset, how you deal with stuff like greed and fear.
Okay, so let's get into it. Part one, your mind over money. We're going to dig into why our psychology, not how smart we are, is what really drives financial success or failure. There's this fantastic quote that just nails it. Financial success is not a hard science, it's a soft skill. I mean, just think about that for a sec. We're taught to think of finance like physics, right? With all these strict rules and formulas. But the truth is, it's way more like psychology. It's messy, it's emotional, it's full of all these human quirks you can't just plug into an equation. And this is where it gets really fascinating, because you see this play out in the real world all the time. You hear these incredible stories, right? The janitor who somehow becomes a millionaire just by being patient and consistent. And then you have the Wall Street genius, the executive who ends up totally bankrupt. What's the difference? It's not the paycheck, it's the behavior. And that idea of behavior, it brings us to our next big point, and this is a game changer. We're diving into the huge, and I mean huge, difference between being rich and being wealthy. And believe me, they are absolutely not the same thing. Okay, so check this out. Rich is what you see. It's your current income. It's flashy. It's that $100,000 car, the giant house. It's loud. It's all about spending money to show you have money. But wealth is the total opposite. It's what you don't see. It's quiet. It's the money in the bank, the investments that are growing behind the scenes. It's the income you haven't spent. Man, that is such a powerful way to look at it. We're all taught to see wealth in, the stuff. But true wealth, it's the cars you didn't buy. It's all the financial assets that you haven't turned into visible things yet. It's the freedom, not the objects. So here's the bottom line. Wealth isn't about having a garage full of nice cars. It's about having control over your calendar. It's the freedom, the real, actual freedom, to wake up one morning and say, you know what? I can do whatever I want today. That's the real prize. All right, so if wealth is the goal, why is it so hard to get there? What's standing in our way? Well, that brings us to our next part, and a huge mental trap that gets almost everybody. This never-ending, exhausting chase for more. I mean, it's a wild question when you think about it, right? Why do people who already have fortunes, like more money than they could spend in 10 lifetimes, why do they risk it all just to get a little bit more? What's going on there? A lot of the time, the answer is this nasty little loop called lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. Step one, you earn more money. Great. Step two, your hopes and dreams get bigger right along with it. Step three, you start spending more to match those new dreams. And step four, you're basically right back where you started, just with more expensive stuff. It's a hamster wheel. And this quote just hits it on the head. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. It's so true. The only way to win this game, the only way to get off that hamster wheel is to decide for yourself what enough looks like. You have to plant your own goalpost and refuse to let anyone else move it. But look, even if you have the best behavior in the world, life happens. It's messy and unpredictable. And that brings us to part four, where we have to talk about two massive forces that we usually ignore: pure, simple luck and its evil twin, risk. This can be a tough pill to swallow, but it's so important. Success isn't always because someone was a genius, and failure isn't always because they were lazy. Sometimes it just comes down to luck. Randomness plays a huge part in how things turn out. So we need a way to deal with that uncertainty. So how do you plan for something you can't possibly predict? The answer is something called a margin of safety. It's pretty simple, really. It's the gap between what could happen and what needs to happen for your plan to work. It's building in room for error. Think of it like financial shock absorbers for the bumpy road of life. So what does that actually look like? Well, it's things like having a high savings rate, that's your cushion, having flexible financial goals so you can pivot when you need to, thinking long term so you don't panic during a downturn. It's diversifying your portfolio, avoiding tons of debt. See, this isn't about being negative. It's about making yourself financially unbreakable. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Mindset, the difference between rich and wealthy, dealing with risk. So let's pull it all together in our final section, your unique money story. Because if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that there is no one-size-fits-all formula for money. So here's key takeaway number one. If you forget everything else, remember this. Your behavior is your biggest financial edge, period. You can't control what the stock market does tomorrow. You can't control the economy, but you can control your own actions, your patience, your savings. That's where all the power is. Next up, key takeaway number two. True wealth is what you don't see. You have to fight that urge to look at someone's fancy car and think, wow, they're wealthy. Instead, focus on building your own invisible wealth, the savings, the investments, the stuff that actually buys you freedom. And that brings us to our third big takeaway. You gotta define your own sense of enough. The only way to actually win this game is to decide where the finish line is, and then just stop. Figure out what a good life means to you, not to your neighbor or the people on Instagram. That's the real secret to being happy with what you have.
And this last quote just wraps it all up so perfectly. Personal finance is more personal than it is finance. There's no magic bullet, there's no single right answer. The best strategy is the one that fits your goals, your personality, and most importantly, the one that lets you sleep soundly at night. So I'll leave you with one final question to think about. Your entire financial life is a story, and you're writing it every single day with your actions and your choices. So what is your personal money story? And maybe more importantly, is it serving you? Is that story taking you where you actually want to go?